Welcome to this radio imaging and production masterclass. Today we'll be speaking with none other than Dave Foxx. My name is David Tyler. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to come here and learn with us. Now, in case you didn't know, Dave Foxx has been the Creative Services Director for Z100, the #1 CHR in America's #1 market. He is the mind, the writer, the voice, the producer behind the imaging of Z100, and an image, I should say, that many CHRs around the world try to emulate. Dave also has a monthly column in Radio and Production magazine called Production 212, where he teaches people, as he says, how to get his gig. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the mind, the voice, the producer, Dave Foxx.
Oh, you're making me blush. No, kidding. David, finally we get together to do this. We've been talking about it for weeks. My apologies for it taking so long. The last couple of weeks have been absolute hell. Whenever corporate decides that the two radio stations I'm imaging are going to do their fourth quarter contest on the same day, it makes for some rather hectic times. But fortunately, we're launched, we're going, and I've got some time this morning. I actually skipped the razor and had a nice leisurely breakfast and said, let's get this done.
Well, it sounds like you're ready to go, and so am I. I've got my 5 questions here from the group for you. Dave, here's your first question. Question number 1. How do you come up with fresh ideas for the same promotions, contests, music promos after all of your years at the same position?
Well, I have been at Z100 for 26, going on 27 years now. And I have to admit, sometimes an idea pops out and I think, oh wait, I already did that. Oh wait, I already did that. So how do you come up with something fresh? My big thing is getting past that. Writers write about writer's block all the time. And I guess there's some kind of producer's block too. I've suffered from it. I'm sure everybody does from time to time. For me, the best remedy is to get up, get out of the studio. I go fly. I've been a pilot for 12 years. And when you fly a plane, you have one job. Fly the damn plane, because your life depends on it. You know, you're sitting there thinking about fuel consumption, altitude, talking with the air traffic controllers. All of that stuff doesn't leave room for any of the other things, like the creative issues you have at the moment or the argument you had with your spouse the night before. No room at all. The nice thing is, though, when you land the plane, there is a magical moment when all of that comes flooding back in a kind of linear fashion. And it gives you a whole new perspective on every one of them. Now, flying a plane may not be an option for you. Maybe just riding a bicycle would be a good option, or working out. Go ride a bicycle in traffic. That'll keep you busy. That'll keep your head busy. Just about anything. It could be shopping. It could be going to the movies, reading a book. Something that's going to take your mind away from where you're stuck. And when you come back, that magic moment will happen for you, and you'll see solutions that you just didn't even realize were there all along.
Question number 2 for you, Dave, from the group. We all love tech questions, such as what EQ to use, but writing is the starting point. What tips do you have for writing a promo or any imaging?
Writing is where creativity starts. 90% of the creativity that is in a finished promo or commercial happens at the keyboard. It doesn't happen when you're editing. It doesn't happen at the recording of the voice or the music or anything else. It's the writing. That's where the message comes from. If you're doing your job correctly, everything supports the writing. So yes, writing is where it all starts. And for me, it's uber important to make sure that I have as many connections with my audience as possible. So going back to what I was saying in the first question, getting out and doing the things that my audience is doing is critical to successful writing. Being connected with other people through events, for example, if I'm writing a concert spot, but I've never been to a concert. You can't do it. Writers have been giving advice for years saying, write about what you know. That will give it the ring of truth. That will make it almost impossible to ignore. And honestly, too many people in this business spend all their time in the studio. Talking about ratings, talking about the competition, talking about the latest song from Lady Gaga, blah, 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 blah. And to your audience, that's all it is blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. You are an adjunct to their life. When they're riding along in a car by themselves, they flip the radio on for companionship more than anything else. Yeah, they want to hear tunes, but it's the stuff in between the tunes that we're concerned with. You have to have the same kinds of experiences that they have if you want to speak to them in the heart. You know, you can't get here without going through here. You've got to go through the heart first. Very important. So take some writing courses. Learn to write dialogue. That'll help you a ton.
And question number 3 for you, Dave. Zings, Zaps, and ZooDads. I just love saying that. Zings, Zaps, and ZooDads. Here's the CD. You got any plans for a future set of imaging ZooDads?
You know how ZingZaps and ZooDads happened? When I was coming up, there were no services to speak of that gave you that kind of material. Explosions and laser burns and all those things. They just didn't exist. And after a while, I realized, I've got like 200 of these things just laying around. And one of my engineers came in. I was talking to him about it. And I said, I ought to collect all this stuff together. He says, yeah, we could sell it. And I thought, bingo, hello. And so we sold it for 2 years and did really well with it. And then Ghost Imaging, I forget, contacted me, asked me if he could buy the library from me. And at that point, I was done. We weren't really seeing much from it. And I said, sure. And he has been selling it ever since. And he says he still makes money on it. So who knew? Today, though, honestly, there are 3, maybe 4 services that provide those things. And my time is much more valuable doing the creative thing and just grabbing the sounds that I need from somebody who knows what they're doing. Honestly, and I would name names, but I'm not going to. There are 3 really, really good ones, and then there's a couple more that are pretty good. If you can't buy one, barter for it, do something, but save your time. You're not gonna see any more ZingZaps and ZooDads from me.
And just moving along with the questions here in this radio imaging and production masterclass with Dave Foxx. Here's question number 4 for you, Dave. What is the biggest mistake that you hear radio producers do all the time that you wish they wouldn't?
I hate talking about mistakes that people make. I try to accentuate the positive. But honestly, there are a few egregious mistakes that I see over and over again. One is bad grammar. I hate bad grammar. It makes the radio station look stupid. There are those who argue, well, it gives us street cred when we sound like we're the punk on the street. No, it makes you sound like a punk on the street. You want cred, you want to speak the King's English, maybe with an American accent, but you need to speak properly. You don't have to use 50-cent words. Nickel words will do just fine. But when you're putting those words together, make sure that the verb agrees with the noun and that the possessives and all of that stuff, everything works the way it's supposed to. And if you don't know your grammar, take a course, audit a course, do something, because believe me, it makes a huge difference in your ability to creatively get your message out.
And final question for you, Dave. Question number 5, probably the most important question from a lot of the members of our group. What advice can you give a young producer trying to work their way up to the bigger markets?
Wow. I've been given the same advice for 20, 30 years, and I've met a few people who took it early on who are really coming on, and they're doing incredibly well. So I know the advice works. Take piano lessons. I don't want you to learn to be a concert pianist. I want you to understand how music is put together. Mondo important. You've got to know the difference between rhythm and tempo, and you've got to know how to find the downbeat, the backbeat. You've got to understand what it means when you cut from one to the other, because flow is the boat that we ride our message through the listener's brain with, through the heart up to the brain. The boat is called flow. If you don't have flow, you're not going to get any messages across. So that's one thing. The other thing, and probably more important, is networking. I don't know how many times I've told people, call me, send me an email. And I never hear from them. Or I might hear from them once. And they get shy and they say, well, I don't want to bug you. I don't want to take your time. Hey, if it's going to take my time and I don't have the time to give, I won't respond. I promise. But I try to respond to every email I get. So if you've got a question about how I did something, or a question about how you can advance in the business, give me a shout. I'm here. Networking, so important, really important. And if you don't know that by now, then you need to figure it out really quick. You can hit me up at my blog on my website, DaveFoxx, that's 2x's.com. At the bottom of each blog, there's a leave a message thing. That way you don't have to remember anything except my name. Or you can send me an email directly. Let me give you my email address. It is Dave, D-A-V-E, at DaveFoxx, DaveFoxx.com. Or you can leave me a message here in the group on Facebook.
All right. Thank you very much, Dave. On behalf of everybody in the group, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your really, really hectic schedule to come and answer some of our questions.
Thank you, David. And I appreciate it. This is a great service, and I hope I added to it. And best of luck with future interviews.
This has been a radio imaging and production masterclass with Dave Foxx. Stay tuned for our next masterclass.